We begin with breaking news tonight. Major delays on Highway 2 after a rollover in southeast Calgary. A flipped semi is clogging up rush hour traffic on Glenmore and Deerfoot. Police say the driver is being checked for injuries, but it could be a long time before this is cleared up tonight. We'll have more details just ahead. Here's what else is making news. Excitement is building for Canada Day celebrations, but extra care is being taken.
We have incorporated an operations command center that features all of our emergency services.
After a wall of heavy equipment falls on people at a market this weekend. Plus, a Calgary police officer faces new allegations of sexual misconduct.
I'm surprised and a little bit distressed that we're at this point, at this juncture in the investigation.
Demoted once already, Constable Mike Oakey is accused of more disturbing behavior. And the province tackles aggression in the classroom.
This new action team is part of a broader strategy.
But student advocates say they already know what's causing the problem.
We need to mitigate the underfunding. We need more resources.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Tara Nelson.
Hello and thank you for joining us. Let's get back to that breaking news. Emergency crews are on scene after a semi rolled near Deerfoot and Glenmore Trail. They expect to be there for several more hours, and that is impacting traffic. Alicia Fieldberg joins us from the newsroom tonight. Alicia, drivers should probably look for other routes.
They should, Tara. Police say they could be working to clear that flipped semi late into the evening. Now, the truck crashed while heading south onto Deerfoot Trail, onto westbound Glenmore Trail. You can see the semi driver sitting near the busted cab with his arm bandaged. EMS assessed him at the scene. Now, the semi is still lying on its side, blocking that off-ramp. Crews have been removing diesel, plus the truck has a full load, which needs to be unloaded by hand before that semi can be moved. Until it's cleared up, police have closed the ramp from Deerfoot Trail onto westbound Glenmore. Now, that's expected to impact traffic on both Deerfoot and Glenmore and cause significant delays. Now, police on scene told CTV this could be tying up the ramp until about 10 o'clock tonight, so it's best to find alternate routes and avoid the area so that crews have room to work safely and people don't waste their time stuck in traffic. Tara.
Okay, Alicia, thank you for that. Police say speed was a factor in 2 deadly crashes on Stony Trail this weekend. A 25-year-old man died on Stony between Bow Trail and 17th Avenue Southwest. Police say he lost control of his SUV, crossed into oncoming traffic, and slammed into another SUV. He was ejected from the vehicle and hit a sign. He died at the scene. The woman driving the other SUV suffered life-threatening injuries. The other fatal crash happened Friday on the same stretch of Stony Trail, but closer to 69th Street. Police say a 16-year-old boy died after the car he was driving lost control on the exit toward Highway 8. The vehicle hit a pole and caught fire. Police say speed was also a factor in a pileup on Deerfoot Trail last night. It happened just before 6 p.m. on Deerfoot near 32nd Ave Northeast. Investigators say an 18-year-old man lost control of his motorbike, hit 2 vehicles, and was thrown. He suffered serious injuries. Police say the teen did not have a motorcycle license. The stage is set to mark Canada's 158th year since Confederation. Canada will honor the occasion with a number of events across the city, including free concerts and fireworks in the East Village. But as people get ready to celebrate, organizers are keeping safety top of mind, just days after a dangerous incident at another event. Here's Jordan Canigan.
Speakers are being tested and final preparations continue for Canada Day in Calgary.
Just a bigger and better celebration than ever. We have our 3 main event sites,
including the biggest one here at the Confluence. Smaller celebrations put on by the city will happen at St. Patrick's Island and at Municipal Plaza. The events will include concerts, face painting, activities, food trucks, and more.
So between 11 a.m. and 11 p.m. fireworks launch. This site is bustling with all kinds of family-friendly, free activities.
There will also be an Indigenous spotlight and powwow area. But the outdoor event comes just days after 8 people were injured at Municipal Plaza.
I was just doing all my standing, and I just saw the whole thing collapsed.
Temporary tents, lights, and screens set up for a Nigerian market collapsed Saturday, sending 7 adults and a child to hospital.
We're going to be calling in our general investigation section to conduct a review of the incident and inspect some of the equipment.
With summer festival season in full swing, event organizers are taking precautions to protect visitors, from creating barriers to block off roads to weighing down tents from the wind. Canada Day will have a centralized command center for security and police.
One of the points that we reinforce and drive home is always to keep an eye out on event infrastructure, but not only that, any hazards.
And Jordan joins us from the Confluence tonight with more. Jordan, the night will be capped off, of course, with fireworks.
Well, Tara, fireworks, of course, main part of Canada Day for many, but a reminder coming out from the province today that you cannot set off fireworks within the forest protection area in Alberta without written permission. Now, here, there will actually be a short pyrotechnics show happening during the set of the Sam Roberts Band, which is the headliner concert tomorrow. It is free, and they're actually able to do it this year because there are no water restrictions in place like there were last year. And then, of course, it's the big fireworks show. They will be set off from Stampede Park. You cannot watch from the park itself, so you will need to find other viewing areas around Calgary for the big show in the sky, which will be set off at 11 o'clock tomorrow night. Tara?
Okay, Jordan, thank you for that. Let's check in with Danielle now. The forecast looks pretty great, but people should know it is going to be really hot.
Oh, yes, it's a toasty one tomorrow, Tara. In fact, we actually have a heat warning in place for Calgary and many communities in Alberta because for the next couple of days, we meet the heat warning criteria. So get ready for some summer heat. It arrives for tomorrow. So there you go. There's a look at the warning in place. It extends really from Calgary over to Champion, over to Brooks and Medicine Hat, and then up. 25 degrees is the temperature right now. So today, just a little above normal, but certainly warm and sunny. It's been a beautiful day. For those next 24 hours, we're looking at really nice weather, quiet weather, and just a small chance of an evening shower. So really nothing to worry about for tomorrow with a high of at least 29. More details coming up, Tara.
Thanks, Danielle. A Calgary police officer who secretly recorded a video of him having sex with a woman and then shared it with fellow officers is now facing new allegations of sexual misconduct. As CTV News first reported, Constable Mike Oakey was demoted last year, and these latest accusations come from the same female police officer in that case. Terry Fikowski is outside police headquarters tonight, and Terry, Oakey was supposed to appear before a disciplinary tribunal today.
Tara, that tribunal was delayed on its first day, but we have learned that Mike Oakey has been relieved of his duties without pay. Previously, he was on leave with pay since January of 2024 due to the previous sexual misconduct allegations. But the Calgary Police Service said that changed in March due to these new allegations. Now, Oakey is accused of making sexual advances, engaging in unwanted touching, and using force without consent on the same female officer involved in the previous incident. In October, he was demoted in rank for 1 year after admitting to recording a video of himself having sex with the victim without her consent. He then showed it and nude pictures to his colleagues between 2018, when he knew she was pursuing plans to become a police officer, and again in 2019 when she joined the service. CPS says it did consult with the Crown, but no criminal charges were laid for any of these accusations. One legal expert is skeptical of the investigation and says it raises serious questions whether the case would have been handled differently if the accused wasn't a police officer.
Victim of the videotaping has been put through hell here. He's a member of your own police service. Come on. Both the police service and the police association can step up here. Stop hiding behind protocols and, oh, we can't do this because of, rules and regulations and all that kind of. Enough of that. Enough of this.
CPS says it can't comment while the tribunal is in process, but in a statement says that the hearing reflects that it takes these allegations seriously and that it's committed to a thorough investigation. At the very first tribunal for the previous allegations, the woman did share with us that the whole ordeal had shattered her world, saying that it impacted her mental health and forced her to take a leave of absence from the CPS. Tara Oakey has declined to comment on the new accusations through his lawyer.
Okay, Terry Fikowski reporting. Terry, thank you. Police have now charged a third person with defrauding Calgary nonprofit Bowness Hall out of more than $66,000. 61-year-old Shauna Easthope is charged with fraud. She was planning to run for Ward 1 City Councillor in the fall. Police say Easthope was the chairperson of the business associated with events at the hall. She is scheduled in court August 6th, along with the others charged in the case. 41-year-old Nathan Michael Mazzara and 40-year-old Joshua Tyler Bredo released a statement denying wrongdoing and accusing police of corruption. Bredo completed a sentence for manslaughter in BC before getting involved with the hall. Dozens of people were forced out of a Northwest apartment building due to dangerous levels of carbon monoxide today. Firefighters were called to a building on Kincora Glen Road. They determined wind blew exhaust from a generator on the roof into the building's air intake system, which then got into some of the suites. EMS was on scene, but nobody was treated. Firefighters ventilated the building and then tested the air quality before allowing residents to return. There has been another bobcat attack in southeast Calgary. Neighbors say a bobcat and her kittens have been living under a deck in the neighborhood of Parkland for weeks. Police say the latest attack happened yesterday afternoon when a woman was walking her dog. She was attacked by an adult bobcat. She escaped with just minor scratches. Last week, another woman was attacked about 2 kilometers away when she was walking her dog. Wildlife officers tell us it may be the same cat. They say they tried to trap the bobcat and her kittens, but they were unsuccessful. People in an Ontario community are on alert after a 12-year-old boy was attacked by a coyote on Sunday.
I just feel like teeth dig into my skin, and it kind of like felt weird. So then I looked over and I saw it was a coyote. And then he kind of backed off, and then I just sprinted.
Rocco Mora is at home recovering with 4 puncture wounds in his leg. Members of the village of Nobleton, just north of Toronto, provided this video showing a man being chased around his driveway by one of the animals. He escaped unharmed. That happened just days before that young boy was attacked.
You're watching CTV News, Calgary.
If you've been missing out on Eau Claire since it shut down, the wait to return is almost over. The western half of the plaza has a whole new look now with a new water feature that creates a fog effect. There's also a play area, flexible green spaces, and a large plaza for events. The historic Bow River Lumber Company building has been relocated, along with the Olympic Arch, which was built in 1987. The design is meant to be adaptable to many uses year-round, and it has elements to attract the crowds.
It's that postcard moment. Grab a photo, send it back to your friends, post it to your social media accounts. Something to grab their attention and keep them coming back.
Eau Claire Market and a condo development were demolished to make way for the Green Line, but that stop isn't even in the current design plan. The city and the province are still at odds. The eastern half of the site will remain vacant until a decision is made. It's beginning to look a lot like Stampede time. Rides are being set up and the entrance gates have been assembled for the greatest outdoor show on earth. The work will continue to get the midway games, concessions, and other attractions ready until Sneak a Peek on Thursday. Sneak a Peek early access tickets are available for 3 to 5 p.m. Thursday, and then general Sneak a Peek admission begins at 5 p.m. You can go to calgarystampede.com for more info. And the Calgary Stampede Parade is Friday. The parade begins at 9th Avenue and 3rd Street Southeast. It goes to 10th Street Southwest, and then it loops back along 6th Avenue. The parade has more than 110 entries this year, and if you can't make it down to the parade in person, CTV Calgary has you covered. You can watch the parade live on TV and online on Friday starting at 8:55 a.m. We now know when Pierre Poilievre can seek a federal seat. He lost his Ontario riding in May. A by-election has been called for him to try again in Alberta. And deleting the digital sales tax, the move to restart U.S. trade talks, that's just ahead. And if you have a news tip, you can text us anytime at 10400. Pierre Poilievre can officially start the countdown to his next political race. The Conservative Party leader and former MP now knows the date of the upcoming Alberta by-election, where he will seek to make a return to the House of Commons. Here's Colton Prale.
It's been exactly 9 weeks since election night when Pierre Poilievre stood in this building and told his supporters he would never give up fighting for them. But 24 hours later, it was clear if he wanted to continue that fight, he'd need a new seat in the House of Commons. Now we know when he might get it. In the wake of his election win, Mark Carney promised no political games around by-elections that could return Pierre Poilievre to the House of Commons, and sooner than required under election law. Today, the Prime Minister announced the vote in the Alberta riding of Battle River Crowfoot will take place Monday, August 18th, before parliamentarians return to the House of Commons in September. The riding in southern Alberta on the border of Saskatchewan is a Conservative stronghold.
Well, he has to run somewhere, and of course this riding is probably the most secure riding.
The area we're in is very Conservative, so it's probably better that it stays that way.
Damien Currick held the riding since 2019 before resigning his position earlier this month to give Poilievre a chance to win, and the chance is strong. Currick won the riding with nearly 83% of the vote and more than 46,000 ballots ahead of the second-place Liberal candidate. The Liberals have said Darcy Spady will run against Pierre Poilievre, and he'll be far from alone. The group behind a protest that led to 91 candidates running in his Carleton riding last time around say they're planning for an even bigger slate of candidates in the upcoming Alberta by-election. Colton Prale, CTV News, Ottawa.
A referendum question has been approved by Elections Alberta, but it's probably not the one you were expecting. Do you agree that Alberta should remain in Canada? That's the question in the approved citizen initiative petition launched by a former Progressive Conservative cabinet minister. Thomas Lukazik says he wants to stop the push by Alberta separatists. Because the new referendum rules don't kick in until July 4th, this petition must meet the old requirements. That means Lukazik has to collect 600,000 signatures instead of 177,000. He says he's confident he will. Some Albertans will start to see the effect of Alberta's new personal income tax rate tomorrow. As part of a budget promise, the province introduced a new personal income tax bracket of 8% on the first $60,000 of income. Previously, the lowest tax bracket was 10%. The province says this change could save some Albertans up to $750 in 2025. The change is retroactive to January 1st, but kicks in tomorrow. The Alberta government is creating a team to develop ways to address violence and behavioral issues in schools. But some student advocates say this won't really get to the heart of the problem. Jacqueline Wilson explains.
School may be out for the summer, but class is in for a team of 20 education system officials and teachers to brainstorm solutions for the growing number of behavioral issues in schools.
This new action team is part of a broader strategy to reduce disruption in the classroom, strengthen mental health and behavioral supports, and ensure that our schools remain inclusive and safe learning spaces.
The team members haven't been finalized, but they will deliver a report this fall with the hope new policies could be rolling out right away. Minister Nicolaides didn't attach a dollar figure to the group or say if a classroom size count would be done.
We have to look at the resources that we have within the government as well, funding, budget allocations, and determine a path forward that can really work for everybody.
The lack of action is frustrating for mom and student advocate Wing Lee.
Is confusing because it seems like a make-work project when they need to kick in urgent solutions. We need more resources. We know why classrooms are large. We know why there's overly complex classrooms. We don't have resources in the public education system.
According to Statistics Canada, Alberta has the lowest funding per student at about $11,500 compared to the national average of almost $13,700.
More teachers in the one classroom is not enough for the special kids and the normal kids together because the teacher works so hard.
Bigger classrooms, less kids per class. So I'm hearing there's average like 35, 40 kids per class and per teacher. So just worried about the education and the amount of time per child that's allotted.
Earlier this this month, members of the Alberta Teachers Association voted in favor of strike action. They're negotiating with the province over wages and classroom sizes. Jacqueline Wilson, CTV News, Calgary.
The Alberta Teachers Association has to provide 72-hour strike notice before any job action can take place. Fluoride is back in Calgary's water system. The city began adding the mineral today at the optimal level recommended by Health Canada to help prevent tooth decay. Officials say the level of fluoride in the water will not affect the taste, the smell, or the appearance. One University of Calgary professor points to a study published by the university just a few years ago, finding that grade 2 students in Calgary had higher rates of cavities than those in Edmonton, where fluoride was still being used.
It helps to improve the strength of the enamel, that's the surface of our teeth. It makes it more resistant to the acids caused by food in the mouth, and therefore ensures in the long term we have better dental health.
Fluoride had been added to the water system in Calgary from 1991 to 2011, when council then voted to remove the mineral. Calgarians voted to reintroduce it in a plebiscite back in 2021.
This is CTV News, Calgary.
Let's bring Danielle back in as we look ahead to our 5-day forecast. It's hot.
Yes, and we're just getting started on this. So to put it in perspective, 24 is the temperature right now in Calgary. We did get to a high of 25, and by Wednesday we'll be in the 30s, and so will all of the communities in southern Alberta. And for Medicine Hat, already in the 30s. Medicine Hat by Wednesday will likely get to 37. So a lot of heat on the way. That's why there is a heat warning in place. We'll talk about that in just a second. It's really this ridge of high pressure that's going to be building in for the next couple of days. It will start to make its way out on Thursday. So for Calgary, we're going to see a relief in temperatures by Thursday, but for the far south, they will hold on to the heat for Thursday. So that will be a 3-day stretch for areas further to the south. Now, Lethbridge is not under the warning, but will still be as hot as Calgary. It's just the warning criteria is different here. We'll talk about more temperatures in just a second, but Medicine Hat up through Brooks, over to Champion, Vulcan, Calgary, up the QE2, and much of central Alberta under this heat warning. And this heat warning will be in place for Calgary for a couple of days, and further to the south, we're looking at that lasting for about 3 days. Quiet weather in the south right now. There's a little bit of activity bubbling up in central Alberta and tracking off, but we should not have to see any of that or deal with any of that for today. So today it's quiet. Up the QE2, Red Deer and North, though, they'll see some activity through the evening hours, but further south, nothing going on. Later in the day tomorrow, same type of idea, Red Deer and North. There could be some activity, but further to the south, we shouldn't see anything. Very, very small chance of anything at all. It's Wednesday, though, that we'll start off with sunshine, and sunshine for the early morning hours and throughout the morning and early afternoon. But then by about 3-4 o'clock, we could start to see some activity in Calgary. That's on Wednesday. So stable, likely in Calgary until Wednesday, but hot. So again, because of that ridge of high pressure, temperatures will continue to build. So at least 29 degrees is our high for tomorrow in Calgary, mainly sunny skies. And then for Wednesday, sunshine in the morning and early afternoon. And by 3 in the afternoon on Wednesday, the chance of some thunderstorm or at least shower activity. But some of these thunderstorms in central and southern Alberta on Wednesday could actually reach the more severe criteria with that larger size hail and those stronger wind gusts, because we have so much heat and all the other factors will likely be in place for that. So it may be a bit of an active late day for Wednesday for many communities. Thursday, 25, so you can see temperatures start to get a little bit cooler and a little more reasonable, and then heavy rain Friday night in through Saturday. That's your Action Furnace 5-day forecast.
A big development in the trade dispute between Canada and the U.S. Abruptly terminated on Friday by President Donald Trump, talks are now back on. It was confirmed by both sides today after Ottawa decided to drop the controversial digital services tax. CTV senior political correspondent Michael Couture explains how it all went down.
Prime Minister Mark Carney says discussions between Canada and the U.S. restarted this morning after a call with President Donald Trump last night. But the way the Americans are framing it is very different.
It's very simple. Prime Minister Carney in Canada caved.
A blunt assessment of how it all played out from the White House. The two leaders spoke late last night, and then Canada announced it was rescinding the digital services tax. Carney said removing it was part of a bigger negotiation.
It doesn't make sense to collect tax from people and then remit them back. So it provides some certainty.
The DST was intended to collect tax from big tech companies that make money off Canadian users but don't pay Canadian taxes. Carney says the two sides will now work towards negotiating a full trade deal by July 21st.
The White House says you caved. Is that how it went down?
The Prime Minister wouldn't answer that, but the Canadian Chamber of Commerce applauds the move, pointing to the bigger picture negotiation.
$3.6 billion worth of trade crosses our border every single day with the United States. We can't afford to play with that. We need to make sure we secure that.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre believes Carney should have got something in return. Writing on X, in exchange, the Prime Minister should insist that the U.S. immediately rescind softwood lumber tariffs, adding, we need to make gains for our workers in these talks.
They forced the U.S.'s hand.
Michael Geist specializes in internet and e-commerce law. He says Canada needs smarter tech regulation than to just make web giants pay up.
We've too often looked at these companies as akin to almost like a policy ATM, where we're anxious to do withdrawals to help fund some of our policy objectives, but we haven't really factored in the costs associated with this and some of the potential negative consequences that might come about.
Now, rescinding the DST would require an act of Parliament, but the Prime Minister's office says instead of recalling the House, the government will simply stop collecting the tax until they can remove it altogether. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
The weather's going to be pretty perfect to get outside to enjoy Canada Day, and Ottawa wants to help you do it by offering complimentary access to national parks. We'll show you how Albertans are enjoying their free pass. And brightening up city streets, chalk it up to some big creativity. That's still to come. This is the first holiday weekend since the Canada Strong Pass was introduced. Among other things, the pass offers free entry to national parks and historic sites for the whole summer. As CTV's Miriam Valdez-Carletti reports, some people are embracing the opportunity to explore places that they have never been before.
Spending Canada Day weekend at Elk Island National Park is a special time for Sagar Mehta and his family. When they heard about the Canada Strong Pass, they knew they wanted to spend time outdoors.
And because we have the Canada Pass, the Canada Strong Pass, it actually helps us bring the family here, explore the nature, and it's amazing, and the weather is beautiful, so we are enjoying it.
Introduced by Ottawa, the Canada Strong Pass includes free admission into national parks until September 2nd and 25% off camping fees. Mata's brother and brother-in-law recently moved to Alberta and plan to take advantage.
We are planning to visit pretty much all the parks, as many parks as possible for this summer.
This definitely won't be our only federal park this summer. I'm hoping to go to Jasper and Banff as well. It's really a great program. I'm very happy to use it.
And so are the dozens of people in their cars lined up to get into Elk Island. The beach at Astoten Lake filled with tents, barbecues, and games.
I expected it to kind of have a busy lineup, but it's actually not too bad. It's not crowded. I wouldn't say it's crowded.
You don't need a physical or virtual pass to access savings. Just show up.
It's a great way for Canada as a whole to promote parks and enjoy wildlife and bonding with families.
It's free, and it's nice. It's free. $25 for 2 cars is $50. It's kind of a meal, right? So it's a good news.
There's lots to enjoy at the park besides the free entry.
All the fun animals and the bisons.
The pass also includes free admission and discounts for national museums and via rail. Miriam Valdez-Carletti, CTV News, Edmonton.
Much of Europe is in the grips of a heat wave right now, so what better way to cool off than a visit from the fire brigade? Our trending videos are next. Weekend before Canada Day was very colorful in the northwest community of Montgomery. The festival began late Saturday afternoon. You had to be a little careful where you stepped because you don't want to mess up all this great chalk art. About 50 individuals, some working in teams, worked to brighten the sidewalks. The theme, of course, was Canada Day and life on the Bow River.
And so some people have jumped on that theme, and as you can see, like they've really done beautiful work, like working on that theme. And others have just done their own thing and have done such original work. And you have to understand, like a lot of these artists who came in today to do this, they were preparing in advance.
The event also featured a night market, artisanal vendors, music, and food. That looks good. Well, it's a hot one out there. It's going to be hot tomorrow. So to stay cool, this town called in the professionals. This is smart. What better way to beat the heat than with fire hoses? This is a village in Poland. They came out with buckets and water guns. They had a very fun and playful water fight. That is the perfect thing.
That's the way you cool down.
Yep.
Right?
That's pretty good.
I should do that in Calgary.
Well, if you're having the Monday blues, it happens sometimes. This should help.
If you're having a bad day, I don't have advice for you. I do have this for you. If you're having a bad
She
day,
has no advice for you, but she does have a baby goat.
Yep.
And
that'll cure all.
I agree. That worked for me. Yeah, that's a pretty cute goat.
Everyone's
Lawson
feeling
knows what
much
she's
better
doing.
now, right?
Yeah. Sometimes there's nothing you can say.
I don't know how to help you, so look at my cute goat.
Yeah.
That's all I can do for you people. It works every time.
Every time.
Cute. Well, if that baby goat didn't bring a smile to your face, maybe this will. I don't normally like the sound of people chewing, but I'm going to let this guy get away with it.
Pandas can do anything they want.
I think that, absolutely. I mean, they're pretty cute themselves.
Oh, yeah, that's
definitely
cute.
enjoying that apple.
He's cute.
He's very dexterous with those giant paws.
Yeah.
He?
And he looks like he's smiling.
He does look like he's smiling. Yeah. I like it. 2 cute animal videos. Well, still to come, Lululemon is suing Costco. We have details about the accusations that Costco is selling knockoffs of some of its most popular products.
All right, here's your Skywatch weather camera. What a beautiful day. Not too hot, not too cold. Temperatures just a little above normal in those mid-20s in Calgary. A fantastic day. Winds were calm as well. We're going to get warmer from here. So if you thought today was hot, just wait for these next couple of days. When you look across the country, that hot corner pocket really was basically between Ottawa and Montreal. But we're all going to get into the 30s out here in the west as well. That's coming up, and some communities already are, like Medicine Hat, for example. 24 currently. Our high was 25. Normal is 22. This is the heat warning in place. Really, Medicine Hat foremost, Brooks, Champion, Vulcan up to Calgary, and then up the QE2 and off to the east. So yes, Calgary is included in this. Calgary, it's more of a 2-day thing, and for areas further to the south, like Medicine Hat and Foremost, for example, it's a 3-day thing. And even though Lethbridge is not under the warning, it's still going to get into the 30s. It's just the warning criteria is a bit different. It's pretty stable in the southern part of our province and will continue to be. This is your 24-hour forecast brought to you by Action Furnace. Fixed right or it's free. And quiet for this evening in Calgary and even through all of tomorrow. Just a small chance of an isolated shower in the evening hours. So if we get it at all, it will be at about 8 p.m. A high of 29 in Calgary tomorrow, well into the 30s, as you can see here for Kamloops and Kelowna. Edmonton 28, Red Deer as well, Calgary 29, and further to the south, Drumheller, Medicine Hat, as you can see, Lethbridge, Milk River, well into the 30s as well, with a lot of sunshine for tomorrow. Looking at that 10-day trend, the hottest day of the next 10 will be Wednesday in Calgary at 30 degrees. Then we'll start to regulate and we'll even be below normal for Saturday and Sunday, but we will bounce back fast right into the 20s to start off next week.
Thank you, Danielle. Traffic will be tied up for hours as crews clean up after a semi rolled in the southeast. It's on the ramp from southbound Deerfoot to westbound Glenmore Trail. Now, no one was hurt, but it will take hours to unload that vehicle and get it out of the way. After more than a decade without it, fluoride is now back in Calgary's drinking water. The city began adding it back today at Health Canada's recommended level to help prevent tooth decay. And Canada Day will be marked with events all over Calgary, including at the Confluence. It'll also be one of the best places to watch the fireworks at 11 p.m. The federal government says it's officially taking steps to make interprovincial trade easier. Late today, Internal Trade Minister Chrystia Freeland announced all federal exemptions in the Canada Free Trade Agreement that would inhibit trade between provinces have been removed. Prime Minister Mark Carney significantly reduced the number of federal barriers prior to the spring election, but there were still about 24 exemptions left in place, primarily for national security reasons. Now all 53 barriers have been removed. Tim Hortons customers who thought that they had won a boat playing Roll Up the Rim can go ahead and sue, but there is a catch.
Under Quebec law, you can ask for what's called specific performance. So you told me I want a boat. I want delivery of the boat. That's what our clients and the class is alleging for now. Obviously, if they want to offer an equivalent amount in money and save on the delivery fees of the boat, I'm sure my client would entertain that.
A Quebec Superior Court judge has authorized a class action lawsuit against Tim Hortons after customers received emails claiming they'd won a boat and trailer playing Roll Up the Rim last year. It turns out those emails to 500,000 customers were a mistake. The judge says the class action can go forward but has limited it to Quebec residents. Health Canada has issued a nationwide recall of certain models of Anchor power banks. The recalled products pose a fire hazard. Those models include the Anchor power bank model number A1647, the Zolo power bank model number A1681, and the Anchor Zolo power bank model number A1689. The lithium-ion batteries in these recalled power banks can overheat and pose a fire risk. Lululemon is taking Costco to court for trademark infringement. BNN Bloomberg's Morella Fernandez has more on that story and other business headlines.
Lululemon is suing Costco, claiming the big box store is selling knockoffs of some of its best-selling products. The All Things Yoga store accuses Costco of selling copied clothing under the Kirkland brand, as well as dupes made by Jockey and Spider. Lululemon says Costco may be intentionally trying to confuse buyers into thinking the hoodies and leggings they're buying are made by Lululemon, but sold under the different brand names. There were some record closes today for North American markets. The S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and the TSX all broke ceilings. Let's start with the Canadian dollar. It is up, ending the day at 73.42. West Texas Intermediate is down to 65.11. Our fix on Western Canadian Select has it up to 53.63. And the TSX spiked another 164 points to hit that record of 26,857. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
The city of Medicine Hat is using a natural solution to tackle invasive plants. About 200,000 flea beetles were released into Police Point Park. The insect's primary food source is leafy spurge, which has infested the park. They will almost exclusively eat leafy spurge until it's wiped out. The beetles are a more environmentally friendly option than spraying.
Densities of leafy spurge were increasing quite rapidly. And so we don't want to just focus on spraying, although it's very useful. We also want to make sure we're following good IPM principles. So we're controlling these invasive pests from a bunch of different angles.
It will take a couple of years before residents probably will see a noticeable effect on the weeds. The Flames added a big name today, but it's a former player, Brent Seabrook, who will help with player development. Glenn has that story for us next. Prime Minister Mark Carney was at a youth soccer game in Ottawa today to welcome the 2026 FIFA World Cup trophy to Canada. The international tournament will kick off June 2026, with Canada hosting 13 matches in Toronto and Vancouver. It is free agent frenzy in the NHL tomorrow, usually a day that teams can tend to overpay for players. Glenn is back with us. So, Glenn, do you think the Flames will be very active?
Tara, I'd be surprised if they are, maybe a signing or two, but, I mean, you never know. But it doesn't mean the team isn't busy right now. They were adding to the organization today. The Flames bringing in three-time Stanley Cup champ and Olympic gold medalist Brent Seabrook to their player development staff. And with all of his experience and success in the NHL, he's bound to really help the Flames. Seabrook will be responsible for working with the NHL Flames and the AHL Wranglers in honing their professional development. Seabrook played 15 seasons in the NHL, all with the Chicago Blackhawks. Flames also announced today that the 6 players have received qualifying offers. They include Morgan Frost, Connor Zary, Sam Morton, Rory Cairns, Jan Kuznetsov, and Jeremy Poirier. Of note, the Philadelphia Flyers did not qualify Jacob Peltier, so he is an unrestricted free agent tomorrow. And lots going on in the NHL today prior to free agent frenzy, including Mitch Marner being traded to the Vegas Golden Knights. Calgary Stampeders have certainly been hit hard by injuries in their first 3 games of the season, especially at linebacker. Markel Lee and Gary Johnson Jr. out long-term, so the Stamps have signed a couple of veterans. Adam Bighill is a future CFL Hall of Famer. He's a 3-time Grey Cup champ and a 3-time CFL Most Outstanding Player. Now he's a Calgary Stampeder. The Stamps signed him to the practice roster last week.
You know, Calgary has a great tradition, right? Like, anytime we played Calgary when I was in BC or Winnipeg, you knew what kind of game you're going to get. It's a hard, tough-nosed football game played the right way. You know, this place has a great tradition, and it started a long, long time ago, and that's still here today. So, I mean, that's something I really like.
Bighill isn't ready to suit up just yet. He's still recovering from a season-ending knee injury suffered last season. But Bighill feels he's getting close.
For me, it's, you know, I think just slowing myself down and letting the trainers kind of lead, because I do want to get out there and do as much as as really I want to. But, you know, they're kind of making sure we just check the boxes, right? So, you know, I felt real close.
With all of his experience, the Stamps feel Bighill will really be able to help the team.
It's kind of that veteran leadership of just, you know, this is what it takes to be the best, and this is what championship teams do, and this is how we think, this is how you know, go about your process. And so, you know, at the end of the day, just want to be able to lead by example, and you know, just show them that, you know, I'm a guy that they can count on and do it the right way all the time.
The Stamps also signed Kyle Wilson, who was recently released by Hamilton. He says he's ready to go and ready to make an impact.
Good player, instinctive, you know, hard worker, hard playing, tough, you know, aggressive, so that's for sure what you're going to get.
Wilson says he was surprised the Ticats released him and admits it gives him even more motivation.
Even before, I played with a chip on my shoulder, so that just really added fuel to the fire.
Okay, now Bighill admits it's going to be a little strange when he's on the sidelines against his former team, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, on Thursday night in the first ever Stampede Bowl. Maybe Bighill can provide a little intel against his former team.
Oh, I'm sure that's what they're waiting for. What about that guy? What about that guy?
What do we do, eh?
Well, weather-wise, we're going to have a beautiful week ahead.
Yeah, here's some intel on that. It's going to be hot. If you haven't heard me already, you're going to hear a lot of the sounds of flip-flops in the background, seeing a lot of tank tops, maybe some personal fans that people walk around with. I've seen that a lot lately. 29 degrees as our high for tomorrow, so that reaches the warning criteria for us because we're looking at 30 for Wednesday. Wednesday will be the hottest of this stretch for Calgary, and by Wednesday we have the chance of some afternoon thunderstorms and evening thunderstorms. That chance arrives at 3 p.m. on Wednesday. Temperatures start to cool after that. Friday, Saturday, we are looking at some rainfall and a cool off as well. Weather window brought to you by Lux Windows and Doors, crafting quality windows and doors for your style, budget, and Alberta's climate. Let's take a page out of these guys, you know?
They know how to have fun. Nice shot. Yeah. Well, thanks for your company tonight. We hope you have a terrific evening and happy Canada Day. Don't forget, for breaking news anytime, you can go to our website, ctvnews.ca/Calgary. Have a great night.